Howdy, howdy, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another makeup tutorial, and of course, we are using the Ellis Atlantis palette, and I am recreating this gorgeous look that I saw on Instagram. And we are not wasting any time getting right into it, getting my brows prepared with the Void, which is the darkest black shade, and I am using the Sephora Collection 20 eyebrow brush. And I'm doing a voiceover this week because it is very hard for me to talk and do my makeup at the same time, so I figured this was the best course going forward. I am carving out my brows with the Morphe M165 brush and my handy dandy Hourglass Creme Concealer, and we are just shaping out our brows. Oh, this is the moment where I realized I should have used this lighting all along. You can see everything. I feel like I'm in a face wash commercial. And we are back to carving out our eyebrows. If you've been following me from the beginning, you know that my brows have been on a long journey. I struggle with symmetry, but at this point I realized the shadow is the main focus of my look, so if my brows are not perfect, I don't lose sleep. I am adding some black eyeliner just to define the shape a little bit more. And now that we're satisfied with that shape, we are going to move on to priming. I am using the Hourglass Concealer because I don't feel like getting the P. Louise base, and I am buffing it out with the 5'7" concealer brush from Sephora Collection, just getting those lids primed for our eyeshadow. Your eyeshadow only behaves as well as your canvas allows it, and here I am taking the Void and using the same eyebrow brush and just sketching out this crease shape. And then once I have the vision pretty clear, it is now time to replicate on the other side and hope that it's symmetrical. That's as good as it's gonna get. And I am taking a smudge brush and adding more of the black shade and defining it a little bit more. And it's getting everywhere, and that is just gonna have to be okay for now. We are just packing on that pigment and making sure that it defines the crease. And we are doing the same thing on the other side and trying to make sure it is as symmetrical as possible. Doesn't have to look perfect, but I just want it to look as sharp as possible. And now I am taking my Morphe crease brush and going in with the darker gray shade, which is called Gravity. And we are just beginning to blend out that black color and make sure it blends into my brow bone. Now going in with a fluffier brush, the P. Louise 182 blending brush, and using the lighter gray shade, which is called Fragments. And we are just tying it all together and blending it out the best that we can. We are taking our time because there is no need to rush. If we rush, it's going to look patchy. And here I am adding a little more of the dark colors in there because as you blend, you lose a lot of that pigment. And this is us just going back and adding the darker colors so we don't lose the intensity of that pigment. And once we are satisfied with this blend, we are going to replicate on the other side and admire our work. And then we are going to take the Hourglass Concealer and cut the crease. And I gave up because I am running out of my Hourglass Concealer. So I just went in with the P. Louise base and we are just cutting our crease. We want to make sure the crease is defined and sharp as a contrast to the pastel colors that are going to go on my lid. Cutting the crease is a very dull and long process, but you really just have to take your time if you want the look to pay off. Getting it to match on both sides perfectly is always a struggle that I have, but again, you take your time, you make adjustments, you adjust the size if you need to, and you just keep working and making sure it looks perfect. And now is the time to officially cut the crease. I'm using Clinique Micellar Water and a Q-tip to get all of that concealer primer off and create a new fresh canvas so that the pigment of the pastels is poppin'. We want to clear this canvas, but we also want to make sure the micellar water does not linger because it makes no sense to put makeup on top of makeup remover. We also don't want to lose the shape of that beautiful crease, so we are just going to intensify that, bring back that dark pigment a little bit more. We're happy. Okay, so now I'm going to add in the P. Louise base back so that the rainbow pastel colors have something tacky and thick to stick to make sure that pigment is what? Poppin'. This is definitely the most precise step that requires the most attention. There is no way I could have spoken to you guys while doing this, hence why I'm doing a voiceover. The quality of my work is proportional to the attention I give it. That is a quote you can put on a pillow. And I look very happy with how this turned out, thank goodness. And we are going back in with the Ellis Atlantis Blend Bunny palette. And I'm going in with this beautiful pastel pink, which is called Sensory. And I'm using very small ginger motions because I want to make it pastel, but also pigmented. I know that's kind of an oxymoron, but we want to honor the color payoff while also making it pastel. Going in here with the lilac shade, which is called Illusion, and just making sure the colors are melting into each other. Again here, making sure that I don't lose that crease pigment. We are just adding in that black to make sure the shape and the line is defined. I am combining the shades Cosmic and Aether to create this beautiful pastel blue. For the green and yellow, I'm going in with the OG Blends palette from Blend Bunny. I'm using this gorgeous mint color, which is called Inside Joke. I love this color. I think it's so beautiful. And then the Secrets shade, which is like a pastel yellow, isn't too pigmented, so I'm mixing it with Voltage from the Ellis palette. And if I do say so myself, this looks gorgeous so far. I love the color payoff. It is so subtle and yet gets its point across. That is just a seamless blend. Look at that. That is gorgeous. I am using tape to help me shape out my liner. I am using the Makeup by Mario eyeliner, the Master Mattes liner in the shade Super Black, and I am just messing around until I get my desired shape. That is what I do with my eyeliner. I kind of just make a vantage point and I flick it inward and then I flick it back and I just kind of mess around until I get my desired shape. I am not an expert on eyeliner. I don't do this kind of wing very often. I kind of just, like I said, I mess around until it looks how I want it to. And the tape really helps with the shape. There is no shame in using tape. And I am not happy with that. It is way too far out for me, so I'm using my concealer to angle it back upward. See, that's the thing with makeup. You can fix it at any point. You can fix it if you don't like it. All right, let's bring that energy to the other side. And that looks wonderful, which means it's time to move on to complexion. I'm using the Dr. Jart BB cream in the shade Fair Light. I love, love, love this BB cream. It's got SPF 40. It conceals, hydrates, but also somehow doesn't feel like anything on your skin. I cannot rave about this BB cream enough. I use it every single day when I am going out in the sun. And as you know, I'm using the very, very last of my Hourglass cream concealer. I literally have 2 new concealers, but I just don't want to open them. I'm using every last drop of the one I have, and this little sponge is so cute. We are just blending that coverage into my skin, under my eyes, on my chin, and everywhere that I want to conceal. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Okay, contour. We are using the Milk Contour Stick in the shade Toasted. Perfectly cool toned, but not so cool toned that I look like a ghost. We are contouring the little nosy, and we are using another beauty blender to just shape out my face, make it a little more narrow, a little more supermodel-esque, and I'm covering my blonde hair because, as you can see, there's always a brassy spot near my forehead, and it's because of my contour, undoubtedly. But hey, you know what? The price of beauty. This look calls for a peachy blush, so I am using the Rare Beauty liquid blush in the shade Happy. I tend to go a little more cool tone on my blushes, but Happy is a very warm peachy color, and I really like it. It's cute. And I'm just blending it all together with my big blending brush, and I am setting with the Huda setting powder. And I've got my fingers in my nose because I did not realize until I started doing long form content just how much dust goes up my nose when I set my face. And it makes me sneeze, boots the house down. So I'm just trying to avoid that at all costs because I have been sick all week and I'm tired of sneezing. Anyways, we are adding some bronzer to the nose and the cheeks. I'm using the Hoola bronzer just to bring some life back into my face. And for blush, I am also using Benefit. I'm using the Shelly blush. It's a nice peachy, very pigmented blush. Look at all that dust. No wonder I'm sneezing all the time. Yeah, cover your nose, sweet cheeks. And now the time has come to darken my lower lash line with the Sephora Collection crayon. And we are buffing it out with the smudge brush. And whatever blue eyeshadow is on that, we are just buffing it out, and that looks really nice. Replicated on the other side. Stunning. Now for lip liner, I am using the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip liner in the shade Malt. It is a brown color, but I think it has some cranberry residue from another lipstick, but I'm not mad about it. I like the mauve tint. And I'm using the NYX Lingerie Liquid to Matte lipstick in the shade Liply. This is my go-to lipstick always, and to give it the kind of gray payoff it has in the photo, I'm mixing it with the Sephora Collection light purple. Sadly, I believe that was discontinued as well, and we are just mixing them together to create our desired color, and I am obsessed with how pretty this is. And now I'm using the ColourPop fluffy brush to dust off all of that baking. Now this look calls for faux freckles, but do we really need them? Yes, we do. I love faux freckles so much. So I'm just putting some little dots on my fingers and just putting them in any which way on my cheeks and my nose. This really is a trial and error process. I'm not an expert on faux freckles, but I try to implement them whenever possible because they are so cute. Putting a couple more on the nosy, and also it calls for some on the forehead as well, which I think is super cute. Checking my work, making sure I'm satisfied, and I'm adding the Fenty Clear Gloss, which is delicious. It's not the shade, it's just delicious. Don't eat your lip gloss. And I'm using the One Size setting spray to set everything into place. And I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Moonlit Glow highlighter. And I am just adding a very demure but also eye-catching highlight on my nose, my cheekbones, and of course my inner corner, just to add a little accent to make the color pop a little more. Going in with my tried and true Lancome mascara just to make sure that my lashes are not naked before I put on the falsies. And for falsies, I'm just using the simple Ardell Wispies, and I am leaving them on and making sure that they dry before I lift them upward and adjust along the way with tweezers. And would you look at that, the finished look. As you can tell, I am very happy with it. I am fangirling over myself in the mirror as I do on a daily basis. I'm not a narcissist, I swear. I'm just very proud of my work. I love you guys very much. Thank you for watching. Here are all of my socials as of today. Everybody take care of yourselves. I love you so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.